Okay, I guess we're broadcasting. Georgia was here, of course. And had to leave. I haven't seen Alex in a while. Girls. And who's the other two? Well, y'all know them now. Savannah, yeah. It's Kevin, I think Kevin. Kevin was in calls. Savannah, so I'm telling where she's at.
I think she works. So now she started a new job, like
Started
right
a
so
new
she was
job.
training at work. Yeah.
One of my county major, Nicole, she's also cut by her taxes. I don't know if I turned her in or not. But she worked for a lady and started out with $7 an hour. I think she worked up to 12. That lady treated her bad, just like she didn't care if she ever quit or not. Nicole said, well, I'll give you a 2-week notice, help train somebody. Well, you can't train nobody in 2 weeks. Nicole got a better job finally. And I think she just pretty much told us, some lady had a bookkeeping and tax service, and Nicole did all the work. She did all the quarterlies, all the payroll, and all the bookkeeping. This woman didn't have to do nothing, and she reaped the rewards. Never give Nicole a pay raise or anything hard. So I think she just told her that she was quitting, and more or less told that woman to take this job and shut it. But that's what I told her to do. I've heard so many complaints about her boss. Then her boss went out and hired somebody and tried to call her off weekend, and Nicole did not accept her call. So she said, she asked Nicole, did she file the report? She said, yeah, all filed, everything's up to date. What's all the password? Whatever she had password for, the program, the computer, whatever. The woman didn't know them, she owned the business. So I said, I put them all down for you. So, anyhow, there are jobs out there at the county. And Savannah, she's been paid at a bank, it's part-time, they don't have to pay benefits, but you're paying her $18 an hour. And, some of our county majors, I think the laws want to record what I know. No, one passed the CPA exam, one went to work for IRS. One from last year went to Tech to work on a master's. And one from last year is somewhere out west working on a master's. One is working down there for full-time accountant. So our job, students in accounting are getting jobs. You know, if they got a county degree and they were still working at McDonald's, I'd hunt them up and get contract out on it. If that's the only initiative they had, you get a county degree, you work at McDonald's, I'm gonna be mad. Okay, you get out there and find a job. Giorgio probably went to get coffee. Okay, I was talking to Sarah, which you heard me, and those out there that are listening that are not here today, I don't know what's going to happen tonight. I looked up some weather reports, and it looks like it's coming from Roanoke to Hillsborough to Boone, North Carolina, and it will hit this part of West Virginia. And it will hit where I live in Southwest Virginia. Supposed to start snowing tonight at about 11 o'clock or midnight. Supposed to snow all day tomorrow. It's a winter storm warning, not a watch. You know a warning is worse than a watch, don't you? What's after that? Where's the advisory come in at? Which one's worse? An advisory or warning? There's a watch, and there's a advisory, and there's a warning. Okay. The what? Okay. Well, warning means it will be here, don't it? So we've got a winter storm warning, not a watch, not a advisory. All right. What I can read, it's going to be anywhere from 3 to 6, higher elevations 12. There's a lot of places in West Virginia that's high elevation. Okay. And I think up around Greenyard County it's supposed to be pretty hard. So I'm just going to assume that we may not have class tomorrow.
You mean VIT?
But if we don't have class, I've asked Sarah to email the president's office. And when they announce that the college is closed, also announce that the site will be closed. Now, when I do that, if it's that bad, Giorgio, some of you all can't get out, just prepare. Can you see some of these little old people, the way they walk in wheelchairs and canes and crutches and the way they come in there? You see them being out in bad weather, I don't. I don't want to risk their lives either. But we'll close it down. There'll be about 36 or 40 people we'll have to recall, reschedule. We're already filled up for tomorrow night. And I think we're filled up pretty much for the end of the semester. That really fill us up if we miss a night. So, and if we miss a night, everybody don't get their quota, I'll try to make some kind of allowances for more than the quota when it comes to grade time. Okay? So that'll take care of all that. All right, I want to review just a few things, and I want to start corporations today. Now, I gave you a tax problem during the break, I think. Didn't I? And what problem was that tax problem, folks? What number was that? I thought it was due during the break. Casey has it here, but she don't have, was installment sheet.
You gave us that.
What problem was that? Does anybody remember? Problem 56, chapter 20. All right. Yeah, I see you have yours. You have your hand.
I have this one.
I'm going to put it back. Okay. You did this one on chapter 20. Problem 56. If you had that, Jojo, did not get it?
No.
Now, you still using the old one?
Yeah.
You have to match up. It's 56, and your book the same as 56.
I think it is.
Our book.
I don't think I have the right book back today.
If you don't have it today, please bring it in the next class period. That could be tomorrow, Thursday, that could be Tuesday.
This is 60 from chapter 11. It's not.
Chapter 11, I wanted 56 from chapter 12. Olivia and Austin, only two people that heard me. What, Robert? All right. You can borrow my book, we can take that page. My book is those looking to take a page and copy if you want to.
I can take a picture of it. What's the problem?
Yeah, that'd be good, yeah. What page is that, Paul? It says chapter 12 and probably.
1231.
Just 29.
Oh,
I think 31, right?
it's like
Page, you said page, right?
1231
1231.
and problem 56.
Yes.
Can you get all of that? But did you get this down here? No, that's the other.
That's
part.
57.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. The two people who handed that in, Olivia has an answer of $2,103. I guess overpaid. No, the amount you owe was $2,103. Now that was Olivia's answer. That will help anybody. Austin had refund of $14,937. So obviously we've got, it is for the same person, I think. Yeah, Hart. All right, that's a difference of over 17,000. Well, no, 13,000, 2,000, I guess. So be careful. That's the way taxes is. Both of them may be wrong, one of them may be right, but both of them cannot be right. Okay, so please have that problem in the next time we show up, whenever that is. All right, now on chapter 13, at the end of chapter 13, also for the next time we show up, it's problem 68. This is on page 36, problem 68. So I'll give you to Tuesday on that one. I'll give you a week on that. So you don't have to have it Thursday if we show up. But if we don't show up Thursday, I still want it Tuesday. Okay. On this problem, let's see, Julia Hernandez is single, has no dependents. She's got itemized deductions. She's got a Schedule C. She's got dividends. She had an income tax refund. A burglar broke into her house, so she does have a casualty. You'll need to put that on a casualty loss form. I believe that's 4684. And then the following assets used in her business were sold during the year. Now these assets, some of them are going to have recapture depreciation, 4797. And you'll try to do a D. Now those assets, looking at them, that tractor cost 25. Depreciation, the date of sale was 25. Its basis was 0. So you have an $8,300 gain that's going to be ordinary, taxed at the taxpayer's rate. You still put it on 4797. We glanced at that form briefly. And then born, all right, 90,000, depreciation was 61. So your basis would be 29, and you're selling for 87. 29 from 87, that's all recapture. That's going to be ordinary gain too. But you can show it on the 4797. Then land, 15,000, you sold it for 27. There's no depreciation on land. That's just a long-term capital gain, all right, of $12,000. And then there's some cows. The original cost was 20,000. Those cows were depreciated down to 13 because of their age, I guess. I don't know if they were breeding or milking. And we sold them for 21. Now that one will have section 1231 and 1245. You know, 13,000 of that gain will be recaptured, ordinary. 1,000 is above and beyond the price we paid for. So that's just a little tidbit on that form. Now also, 3 acres of foreign land were taken by the state under the right of eminent domain. That's been condemned for the purpose of including a highway. The basis of the 3 acres was 1,500. And the state paid the fair market value of 22. There was another gain. Let's see, they had a estimated taxes paid. That's a pretty good problem. Now that problem, when you bring it in next Tuesday, we would need to go over that from beginning to end. So you'll know where all these things, whether you got them right or wrong on the form, so you'll know where we should put them on a form. Schedule D or 4797. So that's an important problem. So please have something ready to hand in on it, even if you do it wrong. Okay, now that brings us up to the end of personal taxes. Now, just a quick review of some things in this chapter. And I know we haven't looked at any problems at the end of this chapter, have we? No problems, have we? If we did, it was very, I usually have them marked. All right, we'll look at some even problems in chapter 13, the next class meeting, whenever that would be. So after working your problem, some of you need to get this problem due today up to date, problem due Tuesday up to date, and look at some even problems on chapter 13. That will bring us up. Now, we won't have a test this week on chapter, what did we have a test on before? Chapter 10 with appreciation and chapter 14. So we need to have a test on 11, 12, and 13. Not this week, but next week. All right? We won't plan on it until we have our first class. If we miss Thursday, I'll announce it Tuesday, and we'll probably have it to next Thursday. We'll review, we'll look at some of these problems before we have a test. But test 2 is coming up shortly. Now, in here, I did not have to turn in a midterm grade of a D or an F. I didn't in cost. And BITA, I had to turn in 1 F. This lady was sick. Mr. Imel and Mr. Bourne, I'm the advisor, so I talked to them. We all turned in Fs. We like the lady. She's ready to graduate in May, no later than next December. But she's had heart trouble. She's been sick. She's had back trouble. She's had a rough time. And we're doing that to encourage her to drop and not hang on to these courses. She don't have time or the energy to finish. Okay. So sometimes we have to make the call. So 3 of my courses, no Fs but 1. Principles, half Fs. Okay, now this chapter, remember, is 1231 and 1245. And one chapter we had the like-kind exchanges. This chapter, one chapter we had condemnations, involuntary conversions. And it tells you the purpose of section 1235 and 1231. Now, section 1250, we haven't mentioned a lot. That may be the land that you have in that problem. So you'll need to read the section 1250 and make sure it's still depreciable real property. So one of those items may be under section 1250. So please read page 10 and 11 on section 1250 property. So now we got section 1250, 1235, and 1231. And you can read a good summary of those on page 17. And then the blue section, review 13-3 as a pretty good aspect also. If you look at that chart, looking at page 17, land, it's a 1231 gain, tax at 15%. You did have some land. Now, how come there's no section 1245? There's no recapture of depreciation on land. It's just 1231. Okay, and then you get down to equipment. That's the examples we work with. Section 1245, ordinary income taxed at 35%. Now it says 35%, but not necessary. That's a corporate tax rate. The building, 1231, 1250. So if there's a building, it's 1231, 1250. All right. There's other things I'll mention in that chapter when we go through the problems on like-kind exchanges. We looked at a 4797. Okay, so now we're going to chapter 1. Finally, we're getting over. Chapter 1 is corporations, and we ignore it. It's a lot of research. Talks about tax appeals and the tax courts, court decisions. Okay, we just don't have time to get into tax research and court decisions. So that's chapter 1. Don't worry about it. So we're starting with chapter 2. All right. Now, we've been dealing with proprietorship up through chapter 14. A proprietorship, the owner is taxable, right? The owner is always taxed. Now, if we were dealing with a partnership, maybe we'll get one chapter on partnerships. Partners are taxed, just like a proprietor. Now, when we get to corporations pay their own tax. And when they pay you a dividend, you pay taxes on the dividend. Okay? If you're the owner and pay yourself a dividend, you pay yourself a salary. Now, in corporations, you can incorporate a one-man business. Then you can lay yourself off and draw unemployment. Your W-2 will have your taxes withheld. Your company pays the matching. You will not have to pay the self-employment taxes like you would on a proprietor. Corporations have a lot of advantages. So look at page 2 on corporations. Starting out with sole proprietors, partnerships, corporations. Now, this fourth item here, limited liability companies. The new accounting principles tax has journal entry for limited liability companies. Now, if you're a one owner person, you debit cash, you credit John Doe capital. If you're a two owner business, partnership, you debit capital, you credit Jane Doe and John Doe capital. You still do the same thing in a limited liability company, but you put LLC. Have you seen businesses where you see the initials LLC? You can do it with a car lot, you can do it with a dentist's office, a CPA, whoever, LLC. You have limited liability. Now, if we were looking at the advantages on page 2 and page 3, now, a proprietorship, look at all those flags. You may have had these Where have you had the advantages and disadvantages of these forms of business before, Tracy?
But
Huh? Could have been a little bit in principle, could have been a little bit in intermediate. Are they not in business law?
Yes.
Are they in any kind of marketing class? We don't have introduction to business here, but if you did, there'd be an introduction to business. But here they are again. And we're not gonna spend a lot of time on them, just gonna look at them quickly. The advantage of proprietor, you're not subject to taxation as a separate entity. Whatever your tax rate is, that's what your business rate is. You contribute in cash and take out profits. You do not have a salary, okay? You can contribute in partner or with property or withdraw profits. So, now the major disadvantage about reading those is limited life. A proprietor has limited life. When that proprietor dies, the business is dead. A partnership has limited life. A proprietor has unlimited liability. So that's the two major disadvantages. Unlimited liability, you can lose everything you have, and limited capital, you can't raise enough.
In principles, when we were going over the partnerships, there was a part where, for example, if one of the partners died, then his some of the money is like his part of the money was distributed to other partners. And the partnership business still went on.
All right. If a partner dies, you dissolve the partnership. Let's reevaluate everything, put your gains and losses, and do your partnerships, whatever the ratio of sharing is, and then give the living partner their balance, and the deceased partner's estate or heir, maybe his wife, that back. That's the clean way of doing it. Now, if you took in his wife as a partner, you could just debit her capital, 50,000, if that's what his was, and debit his capital for 50 and credit her capital. You could make a clean transaction like that and it'd be legal.
But the life still goes on.
It could still go on. But you may have, instead of B and K initials, it may be B and M initials, whatever. So you still should have a new agreement. Is this wife coming in to take her husband's place? She's gonna sign the same agreement her husband signed. In fact, it's a new partnership, no matter how you look
Well, what if the wife doesn't come in? Partner just dies, does the partnership die as well? It still goes on.
it. The business don't have to die. There's a difference. What's on the books, what's in the real world. The business can continue. But it's under different ownership. Maybe the deceased partner is just paid off by, the wife is paid off by the other partner. And you can still go on as the name of that business, as long as you don't have that other person's initials and everything on it. But it is a new ownership. So, proprietor, same way, it usually does not go on. All right, now, looking at the sole proprietorship, the profits of a sole proprietorship, you get 100%. Corporate tax rates may be higher than individuals. Sole proprietor, individual may be higher than corporations now. Sole proprietor has to pay the full amount of Social Security. They may not deduct their salary as an employee. Certain tax benefits they don't get. But the two big disadvantages, no matter how they're mentioned in those sentences, is unlimited liability and limited capital. Partnership. Two or more people. Takes two to become partners. All right. Tracy, you've been married, right? That was a partnership, right? And it failed. Anyway, so partnerships I've been in a few of them. I don't even recommend them. But if you're in a partnership, even with a brother or a sister or a mother or a father, have a good contract that spells out to keep down disputes in the future. Uh, the worst people to do business with is your family. To borrow money or loan money or take in as a partner or whatever, the worst people is your family. You probably have more disagreements if it's your family. That's why you need a good agreement going in. Now, look at tax advantages. It's an entity that pays no tax. The partner's tax rate may be lower than a corporation. It's not subject to double taxation. But the biggest advantage to a partnership, in my opinion, is to raise more money. Two people can bring in more money than one. And that's one reason to form a partnership. Two is skills. Back in the early days of coal mining, a CPA may become a partner with the mining superintendent and a lawyer. And those three then form a coal corporation, start mining coal. CPA does the books, lawyer does the legal work, mining superintendent knows the mining business. They became partners. Okay? So to share skills, a big reason to take in a partner is to share skills, whether it's mentioned here or not. You still have the same disadvantages of a partnership as you do of a proprietorship. You have limited capital. You have unlimited liability. But I think the biggest disadvantage of a partnership, whether it's mentioned here or not, is disagreement. A marriage fails. Obviously, Tracy, you and your husband had a disagreement. She would not let him go to the bar with a different woman every night. So they didn't agree on that, and they split.
But partnerships can have limited liabilities as well.
Do it as a limited liability company.
Yeah.
Or a limited liability partnership.
Yeah.
Now, if four partners are just buying 100 acres of land to subdivide and sell for housing sites, I would set up a limited liability partnership. You're only liable for what you got invested in that land. And your personal assets could not be taken. But that's what you gotta protect, your personal assets, doing business as a partnership. And your partner should be bonded. In case that partner takes all the money from the business and splits the country, then the insurance company, the bonding company could help build that out. Okay? They'll take care of it. Now, corporations, look at the bottom of page 5. It's a separate legal entity. It has its own life. It can be sued. And it can sue. Okay? A corporation has its own life. It's like a person. That's one advantage. Shareholders employed by the corporation are considered to be employees. If you own all the corporation, you're an employee and you can pay yourself a salary and deduct salary expense. And you may have fringe benefits that the corporation pays for. The corporation can deduct fringe benefits as an expense, and you might get them free. They may deduct as ordinary income and recover bonuses, business expenses. All right, a C corporation can use a physical instead of a calendar year. Now, first off, corporations can use a fiscal year. I don't recommend it for proprietorships or partnerships. But many corporations end on March 31st or June the 30th, just like our government. The college's budget probably starts July 1, their fiscal year ends June the 30th. State of West Virginia, I don't know when theirs is, the federal government sometime in September, October. So different fiscal years, a 12-month period. Now, a corporation, they did not mention it here that I see, I may have looked over it, but they can raise more capital. They don't have the limited capital like a proprietor partner. A corporation has limited liability, not unlimited liability like the proprietorship. So a corporation has unlimited liability, and that's the one advantage that I like about a corporation. All right, now the disadvantages, double taxation. That's not as big as it used to be. Why? That's right. Double taxation used to be a big disadvantage. Corporations pay 40%. As an individual, you may pay 20 or 25, but now corporations only have to pay what? Is it 21, 20 or 21? So double taxation is not as big as it. Now, a small corporation, I had a heating and plumbing service.
What?
A heating and plumbing service. The husband installed air conditioners, and the wife was the office manager. And I had them incorporated as they were sued. And at the end of the year, I'd look over their books, their profits, and their expenses. And I would make sure that they got in bonuses or salary most of the profits, so the corporation will not have to pay any taxes. If it did, it'd be a very, I'd lift just a little bit.
What did they do?
I would take out most what I thought was profits and give them a salary and bonus. Therefore, the corporation, instead of having 30,000 net income, they may have 2,000 net income. And what's that? Look at the back of your book. What is that? First corporate tax rate. All right. What is the first corporation tax rate in the back of your book? 50% on the first, how much? 50,000? All right. I definitely want to keep them under 50,000. I want to keep them at 15% tax bracket. But I really didn't want to pay much of that since they were a small corporation. So I may leave in 2,000 as corporate net income, and they pay 15% on 2,000, which would probably be $300 corporate tax.
Well, they would record less net income.
What?
They would record less net income, right? Like
Right, and it's legal.
Yeah, it's
Give
legal.
them salaries or bonus at the end of the year, and it was totally legal.
Well, in that case, they don't really care about external.
We didn't have any external stockholders, investors, or nobody else who cared.
Who cares?
They're just them and IRS. Right? Now, Georgia, in your country of Georgia, you have corporations, proprietorships, and partnerships. Yeah. See, now Georgia was once owned by Russia, right? Controlled by Russia. Russia was communist at the time. And communists, they didn't have a whole lot of proprietorships and corporations and partnerships. Why? Government owned about everything, didn't it? Crazy, what does the government own in this country? What business? Big business does the government own? Now, through taxes and the Security Exchange Commission, the government helps control corporations. But what big business does the government own? used to have no competition.
Electricity.
No, federal government does not own electricity or even state government. They're probably on Appalachian Power
But
Company.
they're in monopoly.
Uh,
But they're in monopoly.
a monopoly, yeah. Not pure competition. All right, post office. And the post office didn't used to have competition. Now they've got it by FedEx, UPS, and now people don't mail letters. What do you do instead of mail a letter? Well, email, text, call, telephone, so long distance calls are built in most plans. But still, post office is one big business that our government owns, and of course, the military. Military is big business. Okay. But now in Giorgio's country, now, you don't have any history, Giorgio, when you broke off from Russia? Is that when you overcame more capitalism?
Yeah, of course. We were still tied to Russia, but after like 2003, we completely got separated from them.
Now, is your leader called the president?
Prime Minister.
Prime minister. Now, is the prime minister elected?
Yeah.
See, elections let you know there's some democracy at stake. Now, Putin of Russia was recently elected. But anyway, he could kill off the competition to make sure he was elected. But that's a little bit of democracy in Russia.
But in Georgia, we have a lot of monopolies.
A lot of monopoly.
Yeah, there's not a lot of pure competition. As it is here. So, like for example, when there is a presidential election and candidates are looking for funds, how to raise funds from external investors, those external investors are like big businesses, and so they tell them if you want me to give you money when you become president, like don't touch me as a business.
You make promises.
Yeah.
That's like our lobbyists in this country. Our lobbyists try to buy off government officials. And
Yeah, that's how all the monopolies work.
well, the only monopoly we have in this country is electricity coming by your house. Telephones used to have a monopoly, but you know, cell phones changed that. TV used to have a monopoly, but Dish Network and direct satellite changed monopoly on TV cable. We still have a monopoly on electricity. Now, the only way to cut that down is go with gas. Still got to have electricity for some things, and if you have gas for most things. So, but Georgia always said in his country, if they have a clothing industry, they probably have a monopoly. Whereas you could buy 50 different brands of clothing in this country. You probably can buy 20 different brands of automobiles. We had the big three, they were called an oligopoly. You had few, we had General Motors, Chrysler, and Dodge. We had General Motors, Chevrolet, and Chrysler. We had oligopoly. Oligopoly is few. So you probably have oligopoly in your country too. Now, pure competition means many. All right? We have many computers to choose from, many cell phones to choose from. We have a lot of foreign industries that come into this country also, Japan, China. And we're talking about, England has a prime minister, but they have a queen, which is just a public image. The queen does not run the country. Prime Minister does. Or anything France, Prime Minister. You get to some of these smaller countries, it's a dictator. Like Iraq was a dictatorship. Now they're trying to have election. Afghanistan was a dictatorship. Now they're trying to have election. I believe the people of China made their dictator for life. He is the leader of China for life. But it's socialism. Socialism is almost communism, where the government controls a lot of stuff. So that's your economic lesson for today. Now, taxes. Now look at the disadvantages of a corporation. The double taxation, shareholders generally cannot withdraw money. Net operating losses confer no tax benefits to the owners. They have to be carried over. Capital losses confer no tax benefits to the owners in the year the corporation incurs them. They are carried over to next year. The biggest disadvantage to a corporation is the double taxation. Corporation taxed and you're taxed on dividends. That's the biggest disadvantage. Now, there is one other disadvantage that books never mention. That's your employees will steal from a corporation, whereas they will not steal from mom and pop's proprietorship or partnership.
Or they don't steal from.
All right. Ken, where do you work?
Green Valley Restaurant.
You know the owner? Is that a proprietorship or partnership?
Partnership.
It's a small business. She knows those people. Most likely Kayla would not steal from them, even if she had a habit of stealing. Okay? Now, Austin, who do you work for?
I don't have a job right
Now, Robert, you work for Grants, right? Now, Grants has more than one store. They've got them everywhere, don't they? They're incorporated. Now, Robert works for them. One of our senior county students, Wesley, works for them. And who else is the third one? Code. Okay, Code works for them. Now, Robert and Code, if they did steal anything from Grants, which Robert probably does, if they did, he knows I'm kidding, but they're stealing from a corporation. They don't know the shareholders. So, if you work for a corporation, the same thing with customers. People that know the owners of that restaurant, they won't come in and shoplift, leave without paying or whatever. If it were a big corporation, let's say like Ryan's, how many people walk out of Ryan's without paying? They should collect at the door when you come in. Ryan's do that? I don't know.
I think Ryan's does, but K&W doesn't. So they end up, they'll charge you as you leave.
Yeah, right. It's at the mall, right? At the mall. Okay. So, a lot of things to look at. Now, the best of both worlds is the next one called a sub S. And we'll try to look at a sub S form, okay? All right, a sub S. A sub S is the same as a corporation. They have all the benefits, but they're taxed like a partnership. Two owners, and that's what I had that heating and plumbing business, air conditioning. I had them to do a sub S. Finally, I got them changed over. Tax advantages, no corporate taxes. The owners pay the taxes.
So
The individuals get to tax the gains and the losses.
so it goes like a self-employment.
It goes back to being taxed like a proprietorship if you're sub S. But- But you have the major advantages of a corporation. You have that limited liability.
But S corporation cannot be as big as a C corporation.
It'll be big, yes, or it could be as small as 2 people.
No, what I mean is that the owners, for example, stockholders, it can't have as many stockholders as a C corporation.
I wouldn't think so.
Because I think I remember it is limited up to 100 stockholders.
Now, partnerships, some of the big 6 accounting firms went up to 600 partners. And if you became a partner, you made about $1 million a year, one of the big 6 accounting firms. Start out as from an auditor, you go up to manager, supervisors, up to partner. And that's when you make a lot of money. I think Dr. Barnes' daughter's in accounting. She's ready to become a partner. She's one of the big 4 now, I guess. Used to be a big 8, had a 6-pack. And Enron took one down, 4 or 5. But his daughter's ready to become a partner. A lot of responsibility, she'll make big money. Now, Dr. Sneed's daughter, she majored in accounting here. She has a good accounting job, I think, around the Edwards, up in Harrisonburg, Virginia. So, but it's strange. And then Michelle, she married an accountant. So he's working in accounting. So all these other professors, they have that accounting connection, okay? Sub-S. I like the sub-S form. You can look at the advantages and disadvantages. All right, look at page 9. How do you become a corporation? Legal requirements. Now, the state of West Virginia has a corporation commission. You can get the forms to fill out to form your own corporation. And you pay a fee as they stay here. Now, articles of incorporation, those articles just tell who's going to be the president and the treasurer. If it's only 2 people, they're going to be the president, the treasurer, and everything else. And you put down what product you're selling, what the name of your business is. Now, you can do that by the internet. Send them the paper. And you need to get a corporate ID, a federal tax ID right away when you incorporate. And you give yourself stock or your partner stock or whoever. And that's all you have to do to start a corporation. A lawyer would charge you $2,000. Accountant, CPA would charge you $1,200 to $1,500. But you can do it for $75. That's the fee, I think, most states.
To make a corporate tax return, you charge $1,500.
No, I didn't say that. To incorporate you.
But the lawyer does it, not the CPA.
The lawyer just fills out the incorporation papers like you would.
You can do it yourself.
Yeah, I've done it.
What?
In my Coach Hunters class, we filled out the articles of incorporation.
Okay. Very good.
Small business.
Very good. Then they're easy, aren't they? And suppose if that name's being used, when you send it into the state of West Virginia, you want to be incorporated in the state of West Virginia. Of course, a lot of your big corporations are incorporated in different states. Some of them incorporate with the most lenient state tax law for corporations. And they incorporate in the county with no local income tax. So your major cities, you can tell what corporations are there.
If you live in a state where they doesn't have a state income tax, is that a big advantage to your individual? For example, if you live in Texas.
Well, my son lives in Tennessee. I just filed his tax. He owes no state income tax. In Virginia, him and his wife, for your filing joint return, they'll probably pay in 6 or 8,000 state income tax.
So it's a huge advantage.
That's a big advantage, isn't it? But now, say in Tennessee, they charge you about 9 something sales tax. Say in Virginia, 5 something. Now, if they shop across the border, that's okay. If they shop in state all the time, they're paying a lot higher sales tax.
Okay. So if you don't pay state tax, do you have to pay other taxes just to make up for the?
Higher sales tax
Let's say make up for no state.
makes up a lot. And they can make it up too on sales tax on automobile. Tennessee charges up to 6. Virginia used to charge 3, I think, or 4. West Virginia, I don't know what percent y'all pay on automobile in West Virginia. Don't know. And some of them make it up in local property taxes. If you own a home, you pay more real estate tax. If you own an automobile, personal property taxes may be higher. So they make it up. So I still like states like Florida and Tennessee. I'm seriously thinking when I retire up here, so long, everything look at Tennessee, so I'm gonna pay state income tax.
What about the states that have no sales tax?
I do not know of a state that's gonna have a sales tax.
Montana.
I do not know of one.
I think there are 4 states that don't have a sales tax.
And they must have high personal property taxes, real estate taxes, and state income tax. How many states?
Montana doesn't.
4 states, and I know one of them is Montana.
Yeah, it says Montana has a sales tax rate of currently 0%, and it's one of only 4 states that do not have a sales tax.
4 states don't have sales tax. Yeah.
Will that be a big advantage? Will that be a big advantage to live in one of those states?
It depends on what the state income tax is. Virginia, the highest rate is 5%. Or if I went to Montana and paying sales tax, but the state income tax was 12%. It's a trade-off. Now, I had a friend that retired and went to Florida. He paid no Florida income tax, right? He bought a double wide to retire in. And he put it on a rental lot. He said he didn't want any real estate to pay taxes on. So he paid no real estate tax, no state income tax. But now, if there was personal property tax, he'd have to pay it on his automobile and his double wide, but he's trying to get out of all taxes. There was a coal miner in our area who finally died. His name was Smalley Rattler. Some of y'all heard about Smalley Rattler. He owned a big farm in Tazewell County, and he was in the newspaper one winter. He had a lot of his cattle die. He made a lot of money after coal mining. He was the largest one-man land ownership this side of the Mississippi. Now, corporations may have owned more land, but he was one-man owner. So I went four-wheeling on his property, and I got permission. He's dead now. Went to school with one of his daughters. But anyway, long story short, he tried to buy his own island. He had the deal almost done. He was buying it from Great Britain, I think. He wanted to buy his own island so he'd have his own government and have no taxes. He didn't want federal taxes, state taxes, local taxes of any kind. But I don't know what fell through with that deal, but he wanted to buy his own island so he could have his own government. So, but anyway, he started a lot of business that way, and his daughter and 2 daughters came into a lot of wealth. And I went to school at Fletch Valley, UVA Wise, with his son-in-law at the time. So Okay, so page 9, legal requirement. Tax consideration when forming of, which we've talked about that. Look at page 11. Now, this is if you are an overview of a corporation formulation rules. If you transfer any property in, is gain realized or gain recognized, basis of the property to you and the company, holding period of property, basis of the property. So please look over that page. We'll have to discuss it later. And some of that is explained on page 12, section 351. We'll have to cover that real well. Okay, I really didn't want to get any other topics today. Get a chance, read this chapter. We'll get to this chapter on Thursday. We'll look at some problems in chapter 13 on Thursday. We'll look at the problem you got to hand in on Thursday. You got one to hand in on Tuesday. So you got a little bit of work to do between now and then. VITA, listen to the radio since the college is closed tomorrow. If we're on a late schedule tomorrow, we'll still have VITA.
Okay, that's 4 or at 4 or later.
What?
If we're on late schedule, we're gonna have that.
Oh, no, it'll still be at 4 o'clock. Even the college open at 2 o'clock. Taxes start at 4. Okay, so you're dismissed for the day, and I'm going to stop broadcasting for anybody who may be listening. I'm sure Savannah is.